All right, guys, I wasn't planning on making a Mariners video for a while because I need a break from this team, and I think a lot of us do after what happened in September. But this demands some attention. This has to be addressed, and it would be criminal if I were to let something like this go without at least saying something about it, because this is bad. This is as bad as anything that I've seen from any sports team ever, really, in terms of tone deafness and disrespect and just plain basically rubbing it in the fans' face of what their priorities are as an organization. Like, I've seen other sports teams do things like this before, but I've seen. I haven't seen a sports team do something worse. I've seen sports teams do things as bad, but this just perfectly encapsulated the nonsense you hear from some of these sports teams about trying to be frugal, trying to be cheap, and ultimately admitting that the priority is not winning. Maybe the priority is winning some games, priority is maybe winning more than you lose, but the priority is not winning a championship. And my attitude on this kind of stuff is very simple. If you, as an owner, do not prioritize winning a championship above anything else, then sell the team. It's that simple. Why own a sports team if your priority is not to win a championship? So, to go over the general point here, in case you guys maybe missed this, yesterday there was a end of season press conference with Jerry and Scott basically talking about where the team goes from here. And not only did we get nothing but exactly what we were afraid of from Jerry and Scott, but Jerry in particular, because ultimately he's the guy who controls personnel decisions. About the only thing we got from Jerry that I could even slightly write off as a positive, slightly acknowledge as a good thing to come out of this. He admitted he messed up on the designated hitter thing this season. He admitted that going into the season with nothing at designated hitter, Tommy LaStella and Cooper Hummel and garbage like that, he admitted that, yeah, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that. That's on me. I picked the wrong guys. So we got that. And that was good because that's true. But after that, it went exactly where we didn't want it to go. So Jerry effectively dumped on the idea of the Mariners needing big stars to push themselves over the edge here. Basically, he said, I don't think we have big problems, is how he put it. We don't have big problems. We don't need big time players to fix this, which roughly translates to forget about your Shohei Ohtani dreams because it's just never going to happen. He said, he basically implied that he thinks that Mariners fans should be thanking him for building a stable organization, or I don't know. I didn't even really understand what he was trying to get at there. He said something like, "Hey, Mariners fans should be grateful that we are here right now, and my goal is to win 54% of our games over a 10-year span," which, I mean, 54% winning is not going to get you in the playoffs more than once every 8 to 10 years. So that's the standard, I guess. Winning 54% of our games, being in the playoff race at the end every year, and probably not making it. So that was nonsense. That's worse than I typically hear it from bad organizations. Bad organizations will at least pretend the goal is to win a championship. Dipoto, when he says that, he basically sounds like he's saying we have no intention of trying to win a championship. We're just trying to win enough games to sell a lot of home game tickets. So I don't really know where that came from. That sounded like an open and obvious and almost intentional smack in the face to Mariners fans who want this team to be better. Like he almost with some of the things he said. I'm not going to go over the exact quotes, but he said something to the effect of, even though this season ended in disappointment, I think we made steps forward, despite the fact that we won fewer games, didn't make the playoffs, and finished lower in the division than we did last year. So I don't see how anybody could construe this as a positive or a step forward of any kind. We had better players. We had a better roster. What does that mean when you still lose more games? What does that mean when you still don't make the playoffs? Like, we had a worse record than the team 2 years ago. This team has twice the talent of the team 2 years ago. The team 2 years ago had a historically bad offense for most of the year. The team 2 years ago did not have Castillo, didn't have Kirby. It had a partial year from Gilbert. It had no Julio Rodriguez. It had no Suarez. It's not even close. And that team wins more games than this team, and you're trying to tell me that's a step in the right direction? Come on here. So, the short version, because I'm not going to get into every little thing that Jerry said and didn't say, is nothing's really going to change, and we're going to try to fix this the way we always fix it, with little dinky trades and dinky little free agent signings. We're not going to go after anybody big. We're not going to spend big money. And Seahawks fans, I'm sorry, Mariners fans should be grateful that this is that we're here right now. And the goal is to go 85 and 77, I think. Yeah, 85 and 77 every year, I guess. And then maybe one year you fluke a 90-win season that gets you in. That's what it is, as near as I can tell. But the real obnoxious thing, because none of that's terribly surprising, like at the end of the day, Dipoto is parroting what John Stanton wants him to say. Stanton wants him to go out there and say, we're not spending money. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do that. We're just going to try to do these little things here and there. Maybe next year we'll win 90 games instead of 88 games, squeak into the playoffs, and maybe something good will happen then, but we're not going to overextend ourselves to make it happen. That's what John Stanton wants Jerry to say, so Jerry says it, which, hey, it's disappointing, but I get it. But big picture, here's the real thing that blows my mind: the arrogance from this guy. The arrogance from Jerry Dipoto right now, talking about his vision, talking about his goals, talking about how we need to trust this process, like he hasn't been here for almost a decade now with no real results. We have one good season since Dipoto got here. Every other season, yeah, we've had maybe a season or two where we overachieved, maybe a season or two where we got close, where we showed positive progress, but you've had one actually good season since you got here. Same for Scott. Both those guys got here at the same time, I believe. I think it was both the same year. So you've got one good season. You've got 0 wins in the 80 ALDS or beyond. So your good season wasn't even that good. You have 0 seasons where you've exceeded 90 regular season wins, and you're acting like you've got all the answers. You're acting like you've got all. You're the smartest guy in the room. That's the thing that I can't get over. You've had so little success since you got here, and you've done some good things. I'm not saying it's been a disaster, but you definitely don't have all the answers. You are definitely not the smartest guy in the room. Even if you remove the whole money thing, because I know that comes from other people, there are teams out there spending less money than you that are actually doing more and going further in the playoffs. Look at a team like Baltimore. Look at a team like Miami. Both those teams are in the playoffs right now. Mariners aren't. And they're not big spenders. They're not some big market team that gets to just toss money around like the Dodgers do or the Yankees do. So by no measure are you some baseball gurus who do everything right. And he's out there just acting like that's the case. Like he's got this vision. He knows what's up. Nobody else does. The fans who want this team to go for it and actually show some aggression and maybe show that there's some reason to believe that this team could ascend to a really high level, not just making the playoffs, but going deep in the playoffs. Like, most of my stuff on this channel is Seahawks stuff. And you guys know that I haven't been thrilled with everything that Pete and John have done over the last decade, but at least I understood that they had done it before. They had built a Super Bowl team before. They had won a Super Bowl before. They had built a really, really good team before. They had done it. So when they felt like they were the smartest guys in the room, even though they weren't, even though when they were blowing draft after draft after draft, ruining really good team after really good team after really good team by not doing that little extra to push them over the top, at least I was like, okay, they did it before. I'm going to give them a little bit of credit here. I understand that they've shown they know what's up at times. They are capable of knowing what is up enough to build a team that actually wins a championship. This Mariners team hasn't accomplished anything close to that. And for Jerry Dipoto to do this yesterday, and I know this video is a little scattered in my trying in direction right now. I know I'm not really focusing in on anything, but that's really the thing I want to come away with conveying. I cannot believe that this guy who has overseen a very mediocre at best stretch of baseball with one genuinely good season goes out there like he's got all the answers, like he's able to spend a little bit of money and make it go a long way in a way that nobody else does. And it feels very disrespectful to the fan base right now. So I'm going to be perfectly honest. Whatever little bit of optimism I had for the immediate future of this team is gone. And after a postseason press conference like that, it's hard to even want to get up to be a fan of this team going forward. I think this was disgusting. I think it was awful. I cannot believe they thought it would be a good idea to go out and say things like that. Like, even if that's the case, why would you advertise it to this degree? But that was disgusting, and there better be some backtracking here. All right, it's a slow Seahawks week, so I figured it was okay to make another Mariners video. I don't know if I'm going to be making another one, and I don't know anymore. I don't know anymore because this was just so in your face blatant. We don't care about winning a championship. We just care about our profit margin. After 2 straight years when the Mariners have led the entire league in what is it, operating revenue, or what do they call it, operating income, and you come out and say stuff like that, like I guess it could be a big misdirection, but what's the point of that? Like, all you're doing, if this is misdirection, is annoying your own fan base. So I don't buy that. I think he's just genuinely going out and saying, look, I don't have any money to spend, deal with it. And I'm going to say something I said in my end of season Mariners video. It's not okay. There's nothing okay about this. The Mariners have made a ton of money for the ownership over the last 2 years. They have money to spend, and it sounds to me like they're basically saying, look, we're not spending it, deal with it. We're going to have an above average team next year. Anything above that is just luck of the draw. We're trying to make another mediocre trade and hope we win, and hope we just get this turd blossom out of some little trade we do. I don't know what we're going to trade. We don't have a lot of assets for it, to be perfectly honest. But he straight up comes out and says, I don't think we need big time players. I don't think we need a bunch of stars. I just think we need to do little things here and there, basically. And you look at this team and you're like, okay, well, why do you think that? We have one star on this team in the lineup right now. We have one star bat. And even he's not, he's really good, but he's not the best bat in the league. He's not doing what some of the truly elite guys are doing right now. So why you think we can get by with just a bunch of decent guys after that, I don't know. I don't get it. But more than just him being wrong, because I think he's clearly wrong, and I think most people who watch this video will agree that he's clearly wrong in that assessment that we don't need more elite players, is just this, the way he words it, the way he says it, it's just like he's got all the answers, like he's Bill Belichick. Like he's got 6 Super Bowl championships in the last 2 decades. And he's like, look, I know everything and you guys don't know anything. Look at all this winning that I've done since I got here. No, there hasn't been winning. There's been one genuinely good season. So, yeah, things are not good right now, guys. I got very low optimism right now. Don't know what this offseason holds, but at this point, I can't assume it's anything good. And I hope they realize what a disaster this conference was. Some people are going to start losing interest after this, and I don't blame them. See you guys later.